Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for a bit of an update on the RASSIE ERASMUS situation. A lot of questions in the last couple of weeks. What is happening? Has he had his misconduct hearing? We know he's been charged. Has he had his hearing? What is the date? What is the outcome? What is going to happen? And when can he potentially rejoin the Springboks if he does decide to do so? And a bit of an update was published yesterday in a report the South African newspaper, which are very, very much in the know when it comes to sort of situations like that, and a very reliable source of information regarding South African rugby. Before we sort of give an update and sort of my thoughts on it, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. So in terms of sort of your sort of events, that sort of happened. RASSIE ERASMUS obviously produced the video following the first British and Irish Lions test, which was, a video was released of RASSIE ERASMUS, is probably what I should say, because at this stage they are still denying that he himself leaked it. In the video, it was an hour-long review of the referee performance that happened with during the first British and Irish Lions series victory. And now the video itself he was allowed to make it. You're allowed to make a video like that. That is how you sort of send your feedback back to the referees. You send them with clips and sort of conversation, stuff like that, about what sort of the clarity, and you sort of asking questions, stuff like that. That is a very normal process. I mean, I've seen one of the ones recently following sort of the Australia test, stuff like that, and it's quite a normal sort of process to sort of follow. But then obviously it was leaked, and as a result, World Rugby did charge him with misconduct with a view of having a hearing towards the end of August or early September. Now, RASSIE ERASMUS did not travel down to Argentina, or down to Gqeberha back in the first sort of test, and sort of stayed in Johannesburg. And I think the week was supposed to be sort of meet with lawyers and kind of decide and plot a way forward. He then did not travel to Australia because of the hearing, with a view to potentially linking up with the squad later. Now, given the fact that the hearing itself was supposed to take place towards the end of August or beginning of September, I think, they were kind of hoping they could push for it to be sort of end of August. And if he was then cleared to be able to join the squad, he could have flown out then and been with the squad, for example, for the 2 New Zealand matches, even after a quarantine period. However, it still has not taken place. We're sort of moving into territory almost 2 months after, what was supposed to be initially the earliest date for the hearing, which is very, very frustrating for South African fans. It must be very frustrating for SA Rugby and for RASSIE ERASMUS, because you've got an end-of-year tour looming, and there's still no sort of word on what he'll be able to do. Now, apparently, according to the report, the issue is finding a time and a place to take to sort of have this hearing. Now, according to the article, it says that the disciplinary committee's chairperson is in London, and 2 of its senior advocates are in New Zealand, whilst the World Rugby headquarters, which is apparently where the hearing itself is, in Dublin. And then obviously South Africa and SA Rugby ERASMUS and SA Rugby are in South Africa. So apparently the issue comes with, first of all, time differences and COVID-19 restrictions. The fact that these people can't fly over to the offices of World Rugby in Dublin and host this hearing. And as a result, that is why, apparently, according to the report, that is why it has not happened. The report also says that even if the hearing does take place during the Boks tour of Europe, ERASMUS still will not attend in person and will rather attend virtually. Now, if this is the case, it is absolutely disgraceful from World Rugby that in a time like this, within COVID-19, where everything has been rolled out virtually, everything has been rolled out virtually for the last 18 months, that you cannot arrange a several-hour meeting via Zoom, via Teams, via any sort of software to do this virtually, sit down, have a hearing, and sort this rubbish out. We have seen people swear oaths, to join courts and stuff around the world. People are becoming doctors and lawyers and everything around the world through virtual ceremonies. People have gotten their degrees through virtual ceremonies. But we cannot sit down via Zoom and have a hearing for misconduct and come to a conclusion. I mean, the video was released in July. It was early August. I think it was about end of July, early August, when the World Rugby initially said that they were going to charge him. We're now sitting in October, and there's still no date set. It is an absolute farce by World Rugby. I mean, since the video has been released, the Springboks have played an entire tournament, as well as the rest of the British and Irish Lions series. They've played 8 test matches. 8 test matches where his involvement in the Springboks moving forward has been a doubt. And we were complaining about the fact that Jasper Wiese's sighting didn't take place on a Monday and took place on a Tuesday, and was supposed to take place on a Monday. And now we've got a situation where a hearing which was supposed to take place latest beginning of September has still not taken place, and there is still no date set. And if you saw on social media, RASSIE Erasmus actually there's a video of him reacting to the New Zealand win, where he was sitting in his house on his couch, pretty much just gone out of bed from the looks, but still in his pajamas, reacting to the game. And you could see he then sort of speaks to his laptop, and obviously on a Zoom call, giving real-time feedback to the coaching staff. He's still very much involved in the coaching staff. He's obviously involved in the selection committee, giving feedback about training sessions because they can film them and stuff like that. So people that have been asking for RASSIE Erasmus to come back to the Springboks, the only thing that changes is his actual presence within the change room and stuff like that. But in terms of meetings, stuff like that, he's been in them for the entire time. That hasn't really changed, his involvement there. But obviously it's not the same. And regardless of what the situation will be, there needs to be clarity, because if World Rugby issue a stadium ban to RASSIE Erasmus and he cannot be part of the Springbok coaching setup, SA needs to make decisions. They need to be able to sort of plot and say, right, what is the situation? How are we going to navigate this? Are we going to keep doing it like that? Virtually going to keep him involved? Do we have to move him away and try and bring somebody else in? Because do we want sort of that extra input at the moment? Obviously, Jacques Nienaber is head coach and makes sort of the big calls during the match and stuff like that. But they are still they're still a very big coaching team, and RASSIE Erasmus is still embedded in that. And what's quite frustrating actually is as soon as we lose, it comes down to Jacques Nienaber's coaching staff. As soon as you win, then RASSIE Erasmus is still involved, and I think that sort of needs to sort of pitter and patter away. But it is an absolute disgrace by World Rugby that they haven't been able to sort of come to the party and set up a meeting and have this hearing. Even if it takes 5-6 hours, how can we not arrange a time that can work for both parties? If that means that Erasmus and SA Rugby need to be up at 5 a.m. to be able to do a meeting, and on the other side of the world, the advocates have to go from 6 in the evening to sort of 10, 11 at midnight. These people are paid millions to do this. This is the reality that we live in. Everyone has to do this. Everyone sometimes has meetings with clients all over the world at different time zones. This is now the biggest rugby organization in the world. They are the custodians of rugby, and they can't organize a Zoom meeting to hold this hearing, or else amend rulings which would allow it to happen online, not necessarily at the World Rugby headquarters during a time when nobody can travel. SA is still currently on the red list for the UK. New Zealand and Australia aren't allowing anybody to leave and come back type thing. These are the realities of the situation. So how can you sit there thinking, well, you know what, we'll just wait until restrictions are gone and we can all sort of fly to Dublin on, World Rugby's pay, and they can just pay for our flights and we can go there for a meeting that'll take a day and sort things out. It is absolutely farcical, the way that this has been handled. And as I'm saying, regardless of whether, he should be found guilty or whatever this punishment is, and whether he was right and wrong in doing it, the way World Rugby have gone about this is really, really poor. And to me, sort of shows you the kind of I think the situation and the type of people we currently have within World Rugby. There's been so much said about World Rugby, about the fact that they're not coming to the party, that as an organization they are letting the game down. And this is just yet another example of exactly that they are letting the game down by not being able to do stuff like this as it should be. And until it gets sorted out, they will continue to rightfully receive a lot of criticism because they haven't been able to sort of get their ducks in a row. But let me know what you think of the situation down below. So there is no update from World Rugby officially, but we do now know that the hearing has not taken place, that there's no date to take place, and apparently these are the reasons why. As soon as there are any updates, we will let you know. So make sure you smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen, and I'll chat to you soon.